Thank you very much for inviting me here today. I'm delighted to talk to you about a plan that I've been presenting around the city, and it's a plan that's evolving. And please, no matter what you do not call it Sam's congestion pricing plan. It is more than congestion pricing, and I have about 10 minutes to explain it to you, but it's more a master plan for the city of New York that is evolving. So keep that in mind as I move the slides. Let's see if I get that right. The way we end up paying for transportation, for highway transportation, is a result of three individuals. Mayor William Gaynor, the slide moved forward, but it's Mayor William Gaynor and Robert Moses and Governor Nelson Rockefeller. William Gaynor removed the tolls from the 4 East River bridges. We had tolls on every one, the Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queensboro, and Williamsburg. Robert Moses built these toll facilities, bridges and tunnels, with long highways leading to them. Nelson Rockefeller wrested control of the TBTA from Robert Moses, and the TBTA has become a cash cow for the MTA all these years. And it's worked for 45 years. But it's not going to continue to work because the prices are getting way too high. They're $13 round trip now at the Throgs Neck Bridge and at the Verrazano Bridge and at the Triborough and others. They're going to $15 in March, and I'm predicting they'll be going to $25 by 2020 and 2050 and $50 by 2030. And when I go around to the boroughs, what I see is that we are collecting a lot of money from a lot of bridges, and we're not returning very much in return. And as I showed you that, and you can see the bridge is collapsing under its the dollar values on it, but we are on track for $25 by 2020, not sustainable. So the MTA formula that has worked since Nelson Rockefeller days can't go on in the future. We need a new formula. And when we look at the current system is a broken system. It's a system in which people shop for the cheapest bridge. The Queensboro Bridge or the Ed Koch Bridge, which is sandwiched between two toll bridges. I don't know if we have that anywhere else in the United States, but what we have are people hopping off the LIE, hopping off the Grand Central Parkway, heading for the Queensboro Bridge. 50,000 extra cars, trucks, and buses a day are trying to avoid the toll. Where are they going? They're leaving highways. They're going onto city streets. They're going on the streets of Hunters Point, Long Island City, Astoria, and you don't hit pedestrians on highways, but you do on streets. Your pollution is not in the living room of people on highways, but it is on city streets. So this is very unhealthy that we have. And it's very unfair. If this was MAS of Mars, and we were a group of planners, and we were invited to this great city, New York City, and we're smart, we look in our telescopes, and we notice that tolls in New York City, every entry point to Staten Island is tolled. That's obviously the hottest place in town. That's the seat of government. And what we're doing, it really costs the people of Staten Island a lot. So the tolls, my case is that the tolls are in the wrong place. And this is absolutely crazy. If you are in Brooklyn and you're going to, let's say, Newark Airport, you have a choice. You could go over the Verrazano Bridge, go through highways that are built for trucks, or you can go over the creaky Manhattan Bridge, 103-year-old Manhattan Bridge, bounce along Chinatown and Soho streets and go out the Holland or the Lincoln Tunnel for free. And the bigger you are, the more money you save. If you're the big guy that is shown in the lower left, that could cost you $70 on the Verrazano, $0 in Manhattan. So if our policy is to try to invite as many people as possible in big trucks into Manhattan, we're doing a really good job of it. So why has pricing failed in the past? And as I said, do not call this a congestion pricing plan. But it's because it's been viewed as a tax, because people say we are one city and we have the sanctity of interborough travel. And nobody trusts that the MTA will spend the money wisely. Little in it for the cost-centric outer communities. We've been taking money from the people in Douglaston, from Nassau County, from Staten Island for a long time, and they feel they're getting little in return. And the complaint that I've heard in the boroughs is that boroughs outside of Manhattan is Manhattanites get off scot-free. On the Bloomberg plan, they get off scot-free because most Manhattanites never cross an East River Bridge going back and forth in the course of their day. So how can we develop a plan that deals with all of that? And that's what I've done. First of all, I took a look at how the vote went the last time. And it never went to the state, which has to give the city the authority. It only went to the city council. And the green is the votes for it, the purple are the votes against it. And the green shows Manhattan voted for it, the Bronx voted for it, every council member that had a bridge voted for it, that would be told, but there's a crescent going around the outer parts of Queens and the outer parts of Brooklyn and Staten Island. So I focused on that crescent of opposition. And so what I say is, let's start all over again. So let's wipe the slate clean, and there it goes. And where would you put tolls? Would you put tolls in the Rockaways if you wanted to support a radial subway system? Would you put tolls in Staten Island that has no subway to support a radial system, or the Throgs Neck Bridge? The answer is no. It would be the central business district where you would have pricing. And so I apply pricing where you have two things. You have serious congestion and good transit and performance-driven, guarantee people a crosstown trip of 20 minutes, and lower or eliminate the tolls at the other locations. So if you take a look at this screen, you'll see in green where I've lowered the tolls at the Triborough Bridge, at the Throgs Neck, the Whitestone, the Verrazano Bridge, $5 round-trip reduction. Sale on bridges, whether you use Easy Pass or cash. Same thing in the Rockaways, although they're not as expensive, so it's a $2 sale. I have a $5 charge to come across the 4 East River bridges that have been free since 1911, and a $5 charge in and out at the 60th Street screen line, if you imagine a line across 50th Street. So $10 round trip. And now, how do we get Manhattanites to contribute more? Because in the old formula, Manhattanites were the borough that contributed the least to the congestion charge, yet got a big benefit. I have a charge on taxis south of 86th Street. I end the parking tax rebate that Manhattanites get, that Brooklynites don't get, people in Queens don't get. I also put a charge on for-hire vehicles, which are Manhattan phenomena, and also I have an increase in parking taxes. The bottom line is it's $1.4, $1.5 billion a year. And one of the nice things about MAS is they do think long-term. And so think long-term, this is $56 to $60 billion. What could we do to $56 to $60 billion? We could put our transit system in a state of good repair. We could finish the 2nd Avenue subway, and different from other plans, I put a chunk of the money into roads and bridges because it's the drivers that will be paying the bulk of this, and define these capital investments to get the support of it. And what kind of highway improvements would we do? Well, we would get trucks off Brooklyn streets. Brooklyn has this strange phenomena of a highway, the Belt Parkway puts the cars on the street, puts the cars on the highway and the trucks on the street. And that costs us in lives, it costs us in pollutions. That is a Robert Moses phenomena to keep the hoi polloi from going to the beaches in Jones Beach and alike. Going into some of the central areas, the areas that are poorly served by transit, I'd beef up bus service, but I'd also lower by $1 those bus fares in areas that our transit deserts have no subways. And then we need to think big. We believe that we can't do what people did in the past. From 1883 to 1909, we built 25 significant bridges, including the 4 flagship East River bridges. I proposed the first bridges since 1909 to Manhattan, and these would be 3 bridges, and here is a shot of them. This is changing to, I guess, to speed me up, but this is a shot of a bridge. These would be ribbon bridges, pedestrian and bicycle bridges that would go from Brooklyn to Governor's Island to Lower Manhattan, from Hunters Point and Greenpoint to the Cornell campus at Roosevelt Island, so that you can walk there straight into Manhattan, and from the Hoboken Jersey City line going forward. And so each of those 5 complaints that I told you is addressed. It is not a tax, and it makes it cheaper to go through most trips and into borough travel. Manhattanites would pay the most in this. and the outer areas would get considerable transportation improvements, and the money would be dedicated to transportation through a revenue fund. Thank you very much.